Well, hello there, and welcome to my Premier League predictions for match week number 21 of the 2022 to 23 season. That's right, Premier League predictions back on the channel for another time, and we're going to review how our game week 20 predictions got on, and also look ahead to a big weekend of football in the Premier League. So, let's look back at game week 21, which started off with that Villa Leeds, game week 20, I should say. Villa Leeds fixture. It was a very interesting clash, of course, but ultimately it was an Aston Villa victory, 2-1 on the day, with a goal from Emi Buendia, Leon Bailey, and then Leeds goal scorer Patrick Bamford, thanks to the brilliant work of Wilfred Gnonto. So, looking a great player, that young Wilfred for Leeds. Also a 2-1 Fulham victory against Chelsea, and a 1-0 City win against Chelsea. 1-0 Forest, Southampton, 2-2 Leeds, West Ham, 1-1 Villa Wolves, 4-0 Spurs against Palace, a 0-0 draw Arsenal Newcastle, 4-1 Brighton against Everton, 1-0 Fulham against Leicester, 3-0 United against Bournemouth, and 3-1 Brentford against Liverpool. There was a lot of interesting results, as well as obviously that Spurs 0, Villa 2, and Forest 1, Chelsea 1. So look, game week 20 was one to deliver. Aston Villa looked good. It was a great goal from Leon Bailey. And I ultimately predicted in match week number 20 that it would finish Aston Villa 2, Leeds 1, with a goal scorer, Buendia. Oh, absolutely smashed it. So 7 points for me there. Then I said Brentford 2, Bournemouth 0. No, I didn't. I'm just reading off the results. I actually said Brentford 2, Bournemouth 1. So close, but no cigar. Result there. We also said Wolves 1, West Ham 0. Lovely stuff. Another 7 points for me. Very, very nice indeed. We also said Nottingham Forest 2, Leicester 1. That was, of course, 2-0. So another result, though. We said Everton, Southampton. We said 2-1 Southampton. Oh, would you believe it? It's another correct result. That's how we roll. The scoreline, I should say. Then we also had a game between Brighton and Liverpool. This one we went for a score of 2-2. It was 3-0 Brighton. Absolute embarrassing for Liverpool. Fantastic from Brighton. Man United 2, Man City 1 was the result. We predicted 2-1 City, so nothing there. We also said Chelsea Palace, 2-0 Chelsea. It was 1-0 from Kai Havertz. Then we said Newcastle Fulham, 2-1 Newcastle. 2-1 Fulham is what we went for, and it was 1-0 Newcastle. And then we also said Spurs Arsenal. We backed the Arsenal lads, but we said 3-1 away, and of course it was 2-0. So also Ramsdale, unfortunate altercation with a Spurs fan there at the end. Not sure what that was about, but he has apparently been charged, and that's a very, very distasteful, and you don't like to see that in the game. So I'm hoping he's been banned for life. Then moving on, we had the Monday kind of break and the Tuesday break, and then Palace 1, Manchester United 1. I said 1-0 United, so I was minutes away from the correct scoreline there. Unfortunate stuff. A debut for Wout Weghorst, very interesting indeed. But what a goal from Michael Olise. And then right at the end, City 4, Spurs 2. Spurs 2-0 up through Emerson Royale and Kulusevski, who of course scored in this game last season on his debut for Spurs. And then City goal scorers, 2 from Riyad Mahrez, 1 from, who else? Erling Haaland, the bot, and another for City from, we've got to say, a fantastic finish, Alvarez, once again, after Perisic was helpless on the line. So yeah, that's my predictions. It rounds up a very good week for me, because I actually said 3-2 Man City, so close again, but no cigar. I had the kind of goal-scoring drama correct, though. We also got, in the end, by the end of the week, 3 correct score lines. Everton 1, Southampton 2, Villa 2, Leeds 1, and Wolves 1, West Ham 0. So we ended the week on a very healthy score. That was, of course, 17, so that's 7, 27, 30, 33, 36 points for game week 20. So let's hope it's much the same for game week 21. Let's kick things off then with Liverpool against Chelsea. Now, coming into this, of course, Liverpool with a very poor showing at Brighton, and they've got them again in the FA Cup in a few weeks' time. But They did lose 3-0, and all the goals were really good Brighton goals, especially the second one from Solly March. But the first one, great work from Mitoma, puts it across, and March just taps it in. And then the last goal, what a goal from Danny Welbeck, rolling down the years for sure. Brilliant finish. And then we see Liverpool playing the FA Cup replay against Wolves. We see what happens with Gary Lineker in the studio and Shearer and Danny Murphy, that unfortunate prank. If you haven't seen it, go have a look. But ultimately, a good win for Liverpool, a great goal from Harvey Elliott to see them through to the fourth round. But in the league, Liverpool have just not looked on their kind of form. And an early kickoff might be the worst thing that Liverpool could have, because are they just going to be caught off guard? Chelsea, on the other hand, are even worse. And they've really struggled under Potter since he's come in. They looked pretty, poor in previous games. But then they got the job done, really, against Crystal Palace. Not much more than that. And Kai Havertz, good header. But really, I just don't think Chelsea are clicking at the minute. So I have a temptation to go with Liverpool. Because they're the home side, I think they will go for it more. And they will get the job done. Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. And goal scorers here, Mohamed Salah. It's always him against his former side. The Egyptian king does it again. But Chelsea goal scorer for the debutant, yes, absolute limbs when this happens, Mudryk. But then Liverpool score their winning goal through a bit of, yes, Cody Gakpo. Now, it's Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. I think Bournemouth actually do win this game because as good as Forest have been, Bournemouth have actually not been that bad at home. So I'll say Bournemouth 1, Forest 0. And the only goal of the game comes from not Junior Stanislas. We're saying Kiefer Moore. Now, it's Leicester v Brighton. Leicester-Brighton, I think Brighton win this. I think Brighton have been superb this season. And I'll say Leicester City 1, Brighton 3. We'll say 2 from, again, Solly March. 1 for Brighton from a bit of Ferguson. And then the goal comes as a consolation for Leicester from Daka. Now, it's Southampton-Aston Villa. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win away for Aston Villa. They've looked quite good, I think, since Emery's come in. And it was ultimately a good win against Leeds, even though Leeds dominated. Bailey is back in form. Will he score today, though? I don't think so. I think Southampton lose 2-0, but goal scorers for Villa, it's not going to be, of course, Danny Ings, who's moved to West Ham. He loves playing for a claret and blue side. But Villa goal scorers, I'll say Buendia and Watkins. Now, it's West Ham v Everton. Big game at the bottom of the table. An absolute 6-pointer. And news is that if David Moyes loses this, a possible sacking with a possible replacement of a former Everton manager, ironically, Rafa Benitez. Interesting. And of course, David Moyes and Frank Lampard, both ex-managers he's an ex-manager of Everton, David Moyes, but obviously West Ham ex-player Frank Lampard managing Everton. So it's a bit of a interesting comparison, but I think West Ham win this. I think they just edge it. West Ham 2, Everton 1. West Ham goal scorers will say a bit of Gianluca Scamacca and Jared Bowen, and then Everton to score through Damari Gray. Now, Palace Newcastle is the 5:30 kickoff. It's not exactly a thriller for the Saturday night football, but we'll go with it. It will probably have goals, and I'll say Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle 3. Palace goal scorers will go for Wilfred Zaha, and then we'll say a bit of Eberici Eze, but then Newcastle scores through Miguel Almiron, Joel Linton, and Fabian Schär. And then it's Leeds Brentford. This could be a lively one. I'm going to go for a 3-3 draw. I think it's going to be an absolute corker. 2 goals from Ivan Toney, 1 from Rodrigo, another for Leeds from that man. I mentioned him at the start. It is, of course, Nonto. And then that's it. Yeah, 2 goals from Ivan Toney and 1 from Nonto, 1 from Rodrigo. We said 3-3 though, didn't we? Yeah. So the third Leeds goal will go for a bit of Patrick Bamford. And then the third Brentford goal, we shall say, I don't know. Brian Mbeumo. Now it's Man City v Wolves. I think City win this 2-0. Very comfortable. Nothing spectacular, but ultimately good result. And both goals from Erling Haaland. Then it's Arsenal Man United. I believe this will be a big game at the Emirates Stadium. Remember the fact that Casemiro is out with a suspension. Also, Lewis went off injured for Man City in the game against Spurs. De Bruyne obviously missed the game against Spurs with a personal issue. And Arsenal, could they give a debut to Leandro Trossard in this match against the Red Devils? Well, he has done the business against Manchester United before, actually, in this fixture against Manchester United last season for Brighton. So, I don't know. I think, ultimately, Arsenal do win this one. As good as Man United have been, and as much as United did beat them in the reverse fixture with Rashford on fire in that game, I think Arsenal this season looking good for the title. Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1, and Arsenal score first through a bit off, yes, their midfield maestro, who isn't going to be suspended this time. It is Thomas Partey. But then Manchester United goal scorers will say Marcus Rashford, and then the winner, who's going to get that decisive goal after United drop points against Palace, and ultimately it puts United in even more bother and Arsenal in even more title dreaming. Well, it's Gabriel for the Gunners. Now, it's moving on to the final match of the fixture of the game week. Fulham against Spurs, a London derby. I'm going to say Spurs narrowly edge this. I don't think it's going to be a great game, but I'll say Fulham 1, Spurs 2. And I think Mitrovic will score for the Cottagers, but then Tottenham Hotspur do get the win late on with 2 quick-fire goals. One from Harry Kane and the second for Spurs from Bentancur. Those are my predictions for match week number 21 of the 2022-23 season. Get yours in the predictions down below, and I'll see you later. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.